Can break for lunch. Thank you all. We will get back into it. So I believe we are all good online. We're streaming. Yep. All right. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed lunch. For those online, we just had a quick photo. Sorry that you couldn't be here to be part of the photo, but we got through that process as well. So just to wrap us up today, we're in the home straight, and we're just going to quickly, I suppose, get some feedback from the groups and try to establish next steps of where we'll go from here. So what I will get to have happen is the facilitators from each group, so Henry, Rob and Jacob are going to come up, and they're just going to give some short feedback from each group, and then we may. I know we had online groups as well, so I suppose the agreement is we'll assess what's been said in the room and what we've found in the room. There'll probably be a lot of synergies, and if there's any additional feedback from the online groups, we'll pass that on as well. So I'll get Henry to come up first of all, and he'll talk about the work that they did and just a quick summary of any stuff that they found.
Okay, thank you, David. So our group included CEOs, mayors, councillors, and some senior members, senior staff. And we spoke about a few items. We spoke about government reform or government intervention, structural reform, what we can do in that space. We spoke about advocacy, proactive approaches, and then also about collaboration. So I think the one central message that came from our group was that we need to work collectively, collaboratively, and we need this unified approach. I think that's something that would most likely come from all the groups, is that we need that collective approach. We need to work together. In terms of those areas, I think I'll quickly touch on some of the key points. When we look at structural reform, we spoke about a few things. The one is that we started off talking about funding. There's the need to provide some funding support where there's a central fund. There was also questions and debate around the landfill levy. There needs to be more oversight and line of sight and transparency in relation to that fund and how that funds can be used for cleanup. So funding was a big item issue. We also agree that we need to advocate through a body like the MAV. Otherwise, you're not going to get the real impact and the outcome that you need. So we need to structure argument around funding, and we need to use the MAV as a vehicle or mechanism. We also spoke about it goes beyond the EPA. It needs a conversation that extends to Vic Police, the Attorney General, and even the Planning Minister to get that more holistic approach. It's not targeting only on the EPA, but it's broadening that and even looking at whether this is classified as some sort of a organised crime process that rather than dealing with it through the Planning Environmental Act and local laws, which aren't that effective always. We also spoke about data sharing. So it's important, what we agree that it's important for all councils to do a cost calculation to see how much money is spent on illegal dumping, not only the cleanup, the officer time, all of those needs to be factored in. We need to translate that to a cost to the ratepayer. And then we need to build up a strong financial argument that we can present as part of our advocacy process, is to how do we use that cost to council, and we need to do it as all councils, and we need to use sort of the same data set that we can start collecting and sharing financial data. I think that one of the last things we spoke about is in terms of that space of collaboration, and to say that we should maybe do a collective media campaign or some collective campaign, and that we'll talk to our comms teams and then maybe put forward a proposal that we can share between councils and do that collective media campaign to see if we can get better outcomes. David, that's a very, very short summary. I think there was a much more detailed conversation around some of those issues, but those are just some of the key points that we touched on. Thank you. Thank
you, Henry. And just to clarify, I believe the meeting's been recorded today, and we'll be, I suppose, collecting all of this information and disseminating and sharing this information. I think there also is an intention to send out a very brief, short survey just about how we can potentially move forward as well. So I'll invite Rob on stage, and he'll summarise from his group's perspective.
I think the overriding theme is that in our group was that of the passion for this issue, and it's something I've always taken pride in working in local government. That nearly everyone who works in local government does it because we believe in doing the right thing and having a positive impact, and that was really clear in our group. Our group was all officers, and we had a focus on the operations, how we deal with this issue. A few, and I'm probably going to miss a lot of what was covered, but we spoke about the challenges at addressing dumping across different councils. For a lot of, especially the rural councils, we have isolated roads. It's very hard to keep on top of so many isolated locations. As said, we depend on our residents to let us know when dumping occurs, and that is an asset, a tool that we can use going forward. And most councils promote their app for reporting, and they use that to really as another resource. We spoke about tools that we use, and cameras, surveillance cameras was, we had a lot of discussion about that. I didn't realise that there were so many different options available with cameras, and some really good, some not so good. So there's an opportunity to going forward that we can share that information across all councils. And if there are some really good cameras that do a fantastic job, we should all be buying them. And maybe there's an opportunity that we do a shared procurement, and we can save money, and we can get resources like that at a lower cost and get them in a timely manner. We spoke about comms and how important comms are in this space, and they're another tool, another weapon in combating the issue. And Maroobal's had some really good experience with some great comms work that we've done, and a few other councils were able to share that. We had Hume, and I know Maroobal's drawn on Hume's work as well, I think, a little bit. And but it was, comms can help with education, it can help with deterrence by letting people know that we're doing this. We can use comms to encourage the reporting and let people know what tools are available reporting, and even get into a name and shame, a point of view, so people know that if you do this, everyone else might find out, and you want to be in that position. There was discussion about regular dumpers, and that every council seemed to have regular dumpers that they know about. So is there an opportunity to share or create a database and share that information? And I guess that we finished off by talking about going forward, and there was definitely an appetite to continue these discussions and work together to combat the problem. Thanks.
Thank you, Rob. Jacob, you were going to speak, yep. All right, and the final group in person, Jacob's going to come and represent them.
All right. So our results were very similar to Rob's group, and it was a very similar type of group. We spoke a lot about the issues that we're all facing with camera locations, Vic Roads, the Opal program maybe not working the best. We spoke about, I guess, the attitude that waste is free, so why should I have to pay to take it to the tip and things like that. We also spoke about the newly reformed Litter Enforcement Officer Network in the Teams group chat. I think Marcus might have access to that, maybe. And then we discussed a little bit about a study that Whittles is doing with Hume to do with, I guess, the mindset and things like that. But overall, very similar to Rob's group, without repeating what Rob's already said.
Thank you, Jacob. I'll just quickly look at the back of the room. So Julie's representing the online groups. And was there anything extra that came up in the online groups that we potentially need to communicate at this point, or? No, just use it. Yep.
Is that working?
There you go.
There we go, that one's working. We, my group in particular, did sort of touch on the same things that Rob and Jacob's group did. We did have a few additional takeaways there with some options that were potentially open to assist with recouping cleanup costs and ways that they can potentially be added to the rates or cost recovery through prosecution processes. We did also discuss and touch a little bit on better ways to investigate the dumpings that were occurring from the enforcement officer's perspective, and ways that can potentially be streamlined in conjunction with the collection crew as well. I would have liked to have delved a little bit further into the implications with that, but we've run out of time. Otherwise, essentially it was the same thing. There's been a significant increase, of course, in dumpings across all councils, and when you throw in your media campaigns, you get a drastic increase in the number of reports coming in from the community as well, which is fantastic, but then of course adds to your resourcing issues for either enforcement officers or the ability to utilise CCTV and monitor those and follow through with the evidence that's provided on them.
No worries. Thank you, Julie. I greatly appreciate it. So that's a summary of what was discussed in the groups. As I said before, I suppose we're wrapping the whole summit up. And the key takeaways that I suppose that I've taken from today, there were some messages from all of the groups. We've heard from keynote speakers. Everyone seems, and I know that Moorabool is incredibly committed to trying to collaborate and work together to effectively, I suppose, try and address this problem. And all of the groups did note that that was something that everyone was committed to. So I'd strongly encourage everyone to stay engaged as we try to work through this together. That's exactly what Louise said around how we can resolve this, that if we work together collaboratively, we'll have a much stronger voice. So I would please advocate that you do stay engaged, because that's how we'll resolve the problem. As I said before, we've recorded this, we'll send this to everyone.